Capital City podcast. I am Sadat Anissa Sharif and I am your host for today. The topic that we have is self deception and personal growth, choosing awareness over excuses. Now, this is the second week of May and it's very important we self reflect. Like we discussed, this is all about personal development and trying to be better humans. But of course, all of us, we're all living in self deception and always thinking that our excuses is not just a way of us deflecting. And of course, in the studio, I have a super awesome colleague and guest that would speak on it. So sit back, relax. I'll be right back. Okay, my city people, like I said, today's topic is self deception and personal development, choosing awareness over excuses. And in the studio, I have OJ1 and OAP and all around creative to discuss with me why should we stop deceiving ourselves. Welcome to the studio, baby girl.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure
How are
seeing
you
you.
feeling today? Pleasure
I
is all
feel
mine.
really good.
We
to
said
be honest,
today,
yeah.
let's discuss, let's stop lying to ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's go straight into it. From your own perspective, what is self-deception and why do many people struggle to admit the truth to themselves?
Okay, so I'd say it's people always wanting to seem like whatever they are doing is right. People struggle with being self-aware enough to know that they are human and they can make mistakes. So people just want to have this perception of themselves that they are good people. I'm a good person, and you don't just because of that you don't step back and reevaluate your actions. You don't look back, step out of the frame and look at whatever you're doing and say, okay, is this the right thing to do, or am I doing what makes me feel good? Is it because it feels good that's why it's the right thing to do? So a lot of people don't have self-awareness.
No, you're definitely right. The reason why a lot of people struggle to admit the truth to themselves is because they just don't have self-awareness.
Yeah.
So let's speak about self-awareness. What is self-awareness for someone who isn't aware of the topic or the word self-awareness?
Okay, so self-awareness is knowing your flaws, not just your strengths. Knowing your flaws, understanding yourself, knowing the reason why you do certain things. You know, sometimes, I mean, we were briefly talking about. Should I talk about what we briefly discussed before coming on air?
Yeah, sure.
About why people lie.
Mm-hmm.
People that are pathological liars, people who lie unnecessarily. It's because of fear. So when you see yourself trying to lie in a situation where you know no one is going to beat you, nobody is going to, it's not as if it's something that people will hold you, but you just find yourself lying unnecessarily. You have to step back. Why am I doing this? Okay, I am reacting this way because of fear. That is self-awareness. And because of that, you're able to conquer a whole lot of things.
Because I mean, you led me to my next question. Like, how can fear, shame, pride, and insecurity lead someone or can lead people to avoid accountability?
As an African, I think being an African,
Just being that.
just being African,
That pride.
being African alone, the way we're raised in our culture, a lot of us were raised in fear. Not just, I mean, yes, parents call it discipline, but making sure how is it that your child can come up to you to say something because of fear that if I say this, they are going to misunderstand me, they are going to. So a lot of people actually grew up with fear. Yes, that fear. You also talked about
Shame,
shame,
pride,
pride.
insecurity.
Yes. So fear and shame, I think they go hand in hand, because when you come up, you speak about something instead of being educated in a normal way, instead of being educated in a loving way, instead of being educated in a respectful way, you get shamed instead. And that shame comes with fear. And then with pride, like I said, is that fear of not wanting to be wrong. You just can't stand being wrong because when you know you're wrong, you are admitting that you are at fault. That's where the pride comes.
You know, you said this well because, like, the reason why a lot of people struggle and why they lie to themselves because the topic is around you lying to yourself.
Mm,
If you are lying to others, someone that can catch you when you're lying, so it's not even successful.
true.
But you lying to yourself is a very different notion, and a lot of reasons that people hide behind that instead of being self-aware, it's like things of like shame and the pride and the fear that we're talking about.
True.
But a lot of the time, like you said, it has to do with the fact that they think they are right.
Yes.
So that is the lack of self-awareness when you actually think what you are doing is right. Everybody around you is telling you this is wrong. And there's a difference between being self-confident and being very confident in your decisions
Hmm.
and genuinely being deceptive of your decision where you're just actually deceiving yourself.
Delusional.
Being delusional, that's
Yes.
the deludu that people
Stuck in
say.
your own world.
So now that brings me to my next question, the
Hmm.
mental stress. The
Hmm.
mental stress that comes from pretending everything is fine when it is not. Let's talk about how people that self-deceive themselves like to do like everything is fine.
Okay, so we've entered this era of manifestation, being delusional for fun. I know people who are delusional for fun. Um, this whole fake positivity
Yeah.
thing. Now, it is. I think it has done more harm than good because you are stuck in this bubble. The world is so large, the world is so big, a lot is going on. But because you've created this safe bubble, you can't step out of your comfort zone because of it. You are in this bubble where you feel like everything is fine. You keep gaslighting yourself. Years keeps going on. You are still living with this trauma, but you just suppress it with that whole fake positivity thing. At the end of the day, you might just be walking on the street. Something happens. Something triggers you. You can easily get triggered,
Yeah.
and then you react. You act out of character, and you don't even realize why you are doing it. It's because you have suppressed that
Yes.
emotion instead of addressing it. You suppressed it, and now you are flaring up everywhere.
Because this brings me to my next question now.
Yeah.
Can constantly lying to others, including yourself, eventually damage your own self-worth? Because like you said, somebody is going around deceiving himself,
Mm.
not being reflective of the real truth. But what about how you act around others or how your self-worth around others? How can people see that and think that okay, this person is somebody I should respect or not respect? Because a lot of the time, people that lie to themselves or lie to those around them, they don't understand that in the long run it does devalue your self-worth or it
True.
does reduce your respect or whatsoever. Because a common example is when people feel like you're a rude person
Yeah.
or you are not a nice person or you are somebody that lacks maturity, just simple everyday lifestyle changes. We will come back to give examples of things that we feel like can be self-deceptive. But coming straight to it, how can constantly lying to others eventually damage your own self-worth?
Okay, so when you constantly lie to others, you are projecting this false image. And at the end of the day, you become a stranger to your own self. I don't believe anyone is supposed to know you better than your own self.
Yeah,
But now you have projected this person. Who are you? Who are
yeah.
you in the long run? At the end of the day, and I believe we all have unique abilities. We are supposed to embrace our unique selves. That's the only way we can show up. That's the only way we can shine brightly. You don't see, I mean, there's a reason why there are different. I mean, look at the flowers.
Yeah.
Different varieties, different species of flowers, and you see these flowers and you're like, wow, this is beautiful. You see a different species. Wow, this is lovely. This smells good. They have their unique strengths, they have their unique appeal. And now you don't know who you are. You're projecting this version to the world. Who are you beneath
You
all
see,
that?
this thing that you said, right? How does dishonesty affect spiritual growth and inner peace? Because this thing you clearly reflected on has to do a lot with like spiritual growth or inner peace. Because a lot of people still walk around thinking the people are the problem
Yeah,
and not them. Self deception is an example is you not even admitting that there's a problem.
true.
That's even the image. It's not even necessary that you admitting that, oh, you don't know how to do something when somebody else is telling you can't do it, because the truth is that there's also projection from others. When
Yes.
people are telling, oh, you can't do music, you can't do film, and you're like, of course I can. Oh no, you can't do something because you're a woman, or you can't do something because you're black, and you're just like, oh, watch me. That one is very different.
True.
But the thing that has to do with personal development, you becoming a better human, you being nicer, kinder, being closer to God for the spiritual people, or just being a better version of yourself, or growing into becoming better and better and better, you definitely have to look into the topic of self-awareness and
True.
not allowing yourself lead or be deceived, because it does affect your spiritual growth and your inner peace. But I want you to kind of just speak on it too, because how can dishonesty affect spiritual growth and inner peace?
Now, you have to be. I think one thing with spirituality is being open to it. You have to
Yeah.
be open to receive it. Now, if you are not being honest, if you're not being honest, how can you come? Now, I want to use, because I am a Christian.
Yes.
How can you come to God if you're not being honest? If you don't say, God, I am struggling with this. If you're not self-aware enough to say, God, please, I am struggling with this. Help me. If you cannot pinpoint this is where the problem is, please help me. If you can't admit it, you keep lying. You lie to the world, you lie to yourself, and you even lie to God. How can you break out of it? The only way is by being self-aware enough. That is why God does not promote being perfect. He promotes being self-aware enough, being humble enough to acknowledge that you have sinned, you have fallen short in this area, and coming to him with that honesty, with that openness, with that self-awareness that this is what I have done, for him to be able to receive you back. So it's not really about being perfect in spirituality. It's not about perfection. It's not about projecting a certain lifestyle to people. It's about being honest with yourself and with God, being honest with God and being willing, having a broken spirit, which is being humble enough,
Yeah.
being able to humble yourself.
Bringing that pride.
Yes, where's drop the
That
shoulder, drop it, bring it down. Come in that humility, in that brokenness, and God will receive you. So that's it with spirituality. Yes, that's just it. You have to be humble. You have to keep an open spirit. You need to also um be able to hold yourself accountable, admit where you have, and if you look at it, that's the same way you can be able to relate to people. I believe that's the
Yeah.
way, because we are human, we will definitely hurt people.
Mhm.
But if you are able to hold yourself accountable and say, this is what I did, I'm sorry, you brought this to my notice, I didn't realize when I was doing it, but you have said this, I am sorry, I take full responsibility for this. Do you
That's a heaven-minded person.
yeah.
But pride
Pride.
will not allow
Oh.
people.
Oh.
Pride will
Pride,
not allow.
you just be losing valuable
Yeah.
relationships, losing valuable people. At the end of the years to come, you realize you are all alone and you are sitting down. Where did I get it wrong? It started with pride.
Yeah,
Pride.
and you said, this thing that you said, you actually also like answered into how dishonesty can affect your personal growth and your spiritual awareness, or the on your inner peace, because
Yes,
it's
yes.
only a matter of time before they'll reflect. And you also even started answering the next question that I wanted to ask you, which is like ways people can learn how to be true to themselves, like healthy ways to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. You gave example of going back to God for religious people, being humble, being
Yeah.
self-aware. Another thing is having the right people around you. See, the number one thing of how you know that you have problem is when the people that actually try to advise you or try and make you feel better, you feel like they're your enemies. At a
True.
certain point, like if the people around, if you cannot confront people around you, like, hey, how am I behaving, and they are not telling you the truth to your face, that's a very big problem. So if you are blessed, because the key word is blessed, if you are blessed to actually have people around you that even care to tell you, oh, see, oh, you have anger problem, it's
Yes,
leading
yes.
to mental madness, you are always shouting, or it's like, oh, hey, you are too introverted, why don't you come out there and showcase your skill? Why don't you, people that want to empower or uplift you, but you're always trying to find one excuse or the other not to really grow or not to even try and bring yourself out of your shell, that is a big problem. So the thing is, if you are blessed to have people around that, hold them dearly, and if you don't, that's definitely the next step. Having the right people around you, because at the end of the day, you honestly cannot see your nose. So you can't really know what really
Yes,
is your
true.
problem. So when people that see your face, that are seeing what the movement is like, because the whole thing about life is you are growing, you are
Yes,
learning about yourself as well.
very
Things
true.
that you don't know, or things you could do before, things you cannot do any longer, things really change. Perceptions changes, ambitions changes. But
Mm.
one thing that will never change is good character.
True,
If
very
you're a
true.
good person, you're a good person. If you're a bad
Yes.
person, you're a bad person. And bad person obviously leading us, because some people don't care. Oh, you can be very confident, or you can be very confrontational, and people will find out daring, like, oh, she's a very daring person. But another person will be like, no, she's very rude. So the
Yes.
thing about good and bad, yes, it is perspective, it is subject to the person's perception.
Mm.
But when it comes to your individual son, by the depth of your heart, you know what you're talking about. You know what is good for you. You know what is bad for you. You know what is limiting you, and you know what is not limiting you. So, which brings me to my next question: how can families and communities encourage honesty without judgment? If I'm telling to your face, you are a bad person.
You know, earlier I spoke about African
Yeah.
parents, and I think I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
First, I want to say I'm so grateful for this platform because it's something that has been on my mind, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just grateful for this platform to be able to reach so many people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just an advice, but it's actually a call that is for African parents, for guardians, people in the society to please treat people with love. If you're correcting, correct with love, please. Don't correct a child to the point where they feel hate, they feel like
Shame.
shame.
It's shame.
They feel shame, they feel unloved, they feel neglected, they feel like they don't matter in
Yeah.
the manner at which you are correcting. You were once young, you once didn't have anyone, you once didn't know about certain things. And with age, by the grace of God, you have been able to gather so much
Mm-hmm.
knowledge. So, with love, please pass that message across, because they are honestly at this point, you see a lot of children, especially I have to address because I
Yeah.
don't know about this
Yeah.
generation. No,
Yeah.
it's going to take a special kind of grace or a
True.
special kind of redemption for an adult to change. But I think where we can get it right is with the children. If we can focus on grooming our children to be confident enough to come and speak and say the truth to you without judgment, without fear, without you condemning them or their actions, but actually leading them to the right path, I think we can actually change the world.
For me, but
We
I'm
can do
even
that.
going to tell you that I always agreed with when the slogan came out, change begins with me. I believe it has to start with you. Like, for real, like, if look at the example you gave, being self aware, being honest.
Mm-hmm.
These are all keywords in communicating with the people that are around you that you value. Not being deceptive or deceiving yourself, thinking you're always right, which was what we
Yes.
started, because the reason why somebody deceives himself is when they think what they are doing is right.
And they
There
lack
are
self
lots of people that cut off
awareness. Yeah.
family members because of minor things that shouldn't
True.
have escalated that way.
True, true,
There are lots
true.
of people that said bad things to their friends or to their family members or to their colleagues just because they couldn't step out of saying sorry. There are so many bosses or elders or even younger ones that said disrespectful things to somebody, and that person is still carrying it on their mind just because out of fear, shame, or insecurity, you feel like, I'm not going to apologize to that person, I'm not going to say anything about that person. These are all examples of you deceiving yourself. Because if you did something bad and you're just like, oh, I was correcting the person, I said the truth, because that's the popular thing with our community. As long as I'm saying the truth, I don't care how you take it. Hey, see, if you keep going like this with your life, you are going to end up wayward. If you are doing like this, nobody will marry you. If you are doing example of like deceptive things like, oh, you are going to raise up yourself and be a bad child, or you are going to die, like a lot of exaggerated things that are being projected on humans. Those are all the things that always leads to people acting out. So
Yes.
you as an advisor or as a personal person, even when somebody comes to give you advice, is you being self-aware to be like, see, Me, I know that I'm not perfect. I may not be as extra or as the
Yes,
other
yes,
person,
yes.
but let me calm down and say the truth. These are all examples or steps of actually being self-aware. So we don't even have to wait to get it right with the children. Like even even down to us having this conversation now, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, these are things that we need to start talking about." The thing is, just talk about it. The person that the message is for, in their quiet time, they'll go and sit down and they'll think about it.
True.
Because a lot of people made a lot of mistakes that they are living. Even some people died with that grudge or that beef just because they thought they were right in their senses. So the next question now, like we're talking about how families and communities can
Yeah.
encourage honesty without judgment, is like we said, being honest, not being judgmental is like not you giving your opinion already. If somebody
Yes, yes,
comes to
yes.
ask you about something, it's just about you giving what you think at that moment. Because anybody that wants your opinion about something, somebody that respects you. But there's a popular saying that don't add salt to a person's injury.
Exactly.
So when people come to you with open-mindedness or trying to be honest, you can give example with your story. If you're a very spiritual person, you can lead the person to the word of God, but you cannot think that you have the power to declare that somebody's life
It's
is
over.
over because of that. So the next question that I have before we round up, how can honesty improve now the other way? How can honesty improve relationships, mental clarity, and spiritual wellness? Because you see, this good example that we gave, if people can finally just be self-aware to understand that, oh, what I did 10 years ago was really my fault.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that it's too late. Let me call up that person and apologize of like, hey, I remember that thing that I did. That's very wrong. That's a clear example of improving relationship. You know, sometimes I notice that some people don't even care about your sorry. They don't even want to hear apology. Some people just want to know that you know what you did was wrong and you won't do it again.
Yes.
Or you know that thing you said was harsh and you won't say it again. So being self-aware to be taking the right step in improving yourself will automatically improve your relationships with everybody. It will automatically open doors for you. It will help you with mental clarity. Because you can imagine how many people that you are always the one people are offending. Do you know how many doors you have in your head?
Why are you always the
Why always the
problem?
problem? Why is you always you?
Why? You should take a step back. Sit
Yes.
back and like, okay, but why is everybody always having, especially when they're saying one particular thing? I think that's a huge sign that okay, you should sit back, reevaluate, and say, okay, why is it the way I am? Okay, now another thing is, I think one thing that being self-aware helps you understand is, even though your intentions might be good, your intentions might be good, but if you are going about it the wrong way, you are still wrong. You are still wrong. So you should be able to be self-aware enough. I think another aspect of being self-aware that we haven't talked about is people projecting on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because people will project. You might being we saying you should be self-aware, it doesn't mean you are always wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're always wrong. Let me just like make that clear. But you being self-aware is knowing yourself, so that when someone says, I saw you here, I saw you doing this, or you did this, you said that, you being self-aware enough to know that okay, this person is looking at this from the other side, and this person is looking at this from his or her own ability to understand situations. That is why this person is not looking at it or seeing this thing for what it is. This person is looking at his own level of understanding. So
Yes.
when you're self-aware enough, you know that okay, this is why this person is reacting this way, is because this is just how this person relates to things or understand things. You don't take things personal. You
Yes.
don't take things personal. You're like, okay,
Because the word is self. It's supposed to be about you, not about others. So
yes.
let me open up the lines to see if we have any contribution or question. The topic is choosing awareness over excuses. The number is 08056826499. I go again, 08056826499. So Madam OJ,
Yes,
my
yes,
last
yes.
question for you before we have any contributor or whatever. What message would you give to people who are tired of making excuses and want to really change? Yeah, I really want to change. I don't want to be telling myself that it's because I don't have money, that's why I've not gone to school. It's because I don't have this and that's why I've not started the business. It's because I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how to get it, or I don't know how to reach it. That's why I can't do it. What message do you have to do that are tired and like, you know what, I really want to change. But how can I stop deceiving myself?
Okay, I think you should stop procrastinating. You
Yeah,
should
number one.
make that decision today.
That's actually a real one.
Today.
Nothing is as deceitful as I can do it
I
tomorrow.
can do it
I can
tomorrow.
do it tomorrow.
I can do it tomorrow. I can do it tomorrow. Then by the time you look, you have seen that 6 months has passed,
Yeah, 60
1 year has
years
passed,
old.
and this 6 months has passed now. You're like, you know what? We're close to the new year. Next year,
Next,
next
yes.
year, and then you enter like, it's just January. I'm trying to find my feet.
Mm-hmm.
Just start
Yeah.
today. Make that decision today. Also, I think personally, I'm speaking from my personal experience. What has
Mm-hmm.
helped me is just removing myself from that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm removing myself and looking at it objectively. Just remove, okay, if it's just, okay, use your imagination and say, if it was another person that did this, don't look at it as if it's you. Look at it like it's another person in that
Yeah.
situation. When you look at things objectively, I believe you should get your answer. Also, please drop the pride,
Don't be
drop
pride.
it, drop it, drop it. We are all learning, we are all growing, and it's totally fine.
Totally fine. They
It's
say life
totally
is a
fine.
school. As long as you're willing to improve and do better than how you were before, you definitely have it all. Thank you so much, Madam OJ, for this beautiful message. Thank you for your time and for the kids. Okay, I think we have a last caller if we have time to. Hello, please quickly. Good evening. Your contribution. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Please quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness, unfortunately, I had to cut that call because it is time for the news and we're already ahead. But we will continue this on our social media line. Thank you so much, everybody. Love, love, love. Thank you for staying. See you next week. Bye. No, I was like, no, guys. This was the end, is now calling. No.